reach up and turn off your, oops, continue here, yeah. Welcome to the, I'll start again because Matthew just started recording. Welcome everybody to the 6th
Jeff, you're muted.
There we go. Well, we'll start that again then. Thank you, Resno. Welcome everybody to the 6th CTGA of BC Zoom meeting. It's Tuesday, 26th of May, 2020. And Matthew is just doing some, getting ready for some screen sharing regarding today's topic of coach safety. But I wanted to give a shout out to those folks who, after every meeting, the Zoom meetings, have been very kind enough to send either emails or texts saying how much they've enjoyed the meeting and the content and so on. So appreciate that. Matthew, where are we on what you need to do for the topic today?
It's so far working. So whenever you're wanting to move into it, you just let me know. I'm just gonna hang on in the background and take the direction from you.
So I know that some of you are probably very rarely, so we still have a couple of microphones that are open. Sandy, I think I hear your mic.
Don't know how to turn mine off on my phone.
I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
All right. So I know that there's probably a handful of you participating in this today, or the ones who watch the replay later, and maybe you're never on a large tour coach or even a mini coach, and that's okay. You never know when you might just be a passenger on one of those buses and an emergency might happen. And if the driver is unable to help, you will be able to help. At least, you know, that's one of the theories. About, I want to say 25 years ago, something like that, we were asked by one of the CTGA members if we could do a coach safety thing. Well, in that era, we didn't have the internet and all that kind of stuff. So I organized from, I think, one bus from Grey Line to Vancouver, one bus from International Stage Lines in Richmond. And seems to me there was a third bus there. It might have been a perimeter coach. Perimeter transportation under the old ownership, not the current one. So in any event, we had three different types of buses, a Prevost, no doubt, an MCI, and gosh knows whatever else model was there. Most things are fairly basic, but it is, you'll see today as we move along, especially if we get to some of the still photos, that the location of some buttons that are important to help they might just be in a slightly different location. Most of you are familiar with, over the years, you've been owners of a Ford or a Chevrolet or a Mercedes or a whatever, and you know that as you get into that car for the first time, if you're on your own, that's one thing, or if someone's with you, like the salesman, they can show you, oh no, that's over here, and you do that to get it to do that. So there's a couple of different things you need to know. But in an emergency, things happen fast, right? It's just like all of a sudden, and you may need to get out of the coach all of a sudden. So in the last few years in particular, there have been some unfortunate highway coach tour bus collisions, or they just slid on some ice, and they may have just simply had a nice cushy landing, but in a bit of a ditch. Door can't be opened, or they've landed on their right or left hand side, and again, it's not really bad news, but you got to get out of that. You got to know how to get out. So we're going to run some pieces of video, short 2- and 3-minute pieces of video here and there, and we'll stop after each one so that you can ask questions, because clearly there may be something I didn't think of when I was making these videos with Dean Clark. And I was trying to get an opportunity yesterday to get onto an MCI Renaissance coach. That's the one with the curved staircase as you kind of come up the stairs. just to show you a few things there. And I was only able to get access to the bus for a few still pictures. But most of us are probably riding the Prevost H3 series, also known as the H345. So that's what most of this video will be today. Matthew has kindly taken a number of still photos that I have put up, and he has posted them for the moment on the CTGA of BC Facebook page. Now remember, there's two CTGA Facebook pages. The one that I run, which somewhere in the title has Jeff's FYI. And there's also the other one, which is as follows: CTGA of BC hyphen Canadian Tour Guide Association of BC. So if you are on Facebook and you've never seen either of those pages, the one with Jeff's FYI, I can help you get onto that. You have to be, you can't just join in on that one. The other one though, we have a member named Rania, and she started this other CTGA Facebook page, which is really good. She tries to keep it up to date with upcoming events and so on. So for the moment, the stills are on there. Either now or later, we'll get Matthew to talk about the new thing that's coming along with Google. And I know most of you have email accounts that are with either Yahoo or Hotmail or whatever, but if you don't already have a Gmail account, hopefully you won't have as much trouble as Sandy had the other day trying to just simply open a regular simple email account with Google, with Gmail rather, but it will be helpful for upcoming things that are going to be for the CTGA. Some of our Zoom meetings, if not all of them, will be on there.
We'll cover all that one, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff, if you just want to hold back a bit because the board hasn't discussed any of this. We're meeting tonight on Zoom, and then I will send out an email at the end of the month. So a little bit premature. Let's hold off on discussing that because the board needs to be involved, okay?
Yeah, but
Thank you.
that's where we'll also be able to have other stuff, hopefully.
Eventually, and we'll figure that out.
Yeah, and some of it won't be pictures. It'll just be written material that you guys might find helpful for tour. So that's something to keep an eye on. All right, Matthew, you may as well just, first I'll ask if there's any questions just in general about coach safety, or should we just roll the video clips and then you guys can see if you have any questions then. Okay. All right, so Matthew, do you want to run the first clip then?
Yeah, I'll switch over here. Do you have a preference, Jeff, as to which one you would like to see started off with?
Well, one of the most difficult ones is that first one. I mean, if it's easier for you just to start the...
Just let me know which one, that's all.
Yeah, follow in order, the top one, I guess.
Okay.
So, Matthew, I'm hearing a lot of other sound, but not hearing myself and Dean talk there.
Yeah, I'm just playing it and sharing it, so this isn't a new version for me. So,
but when you start to play it, do we need to tap the sound button, or just?
No, it's playing just fine on my end. It should be just coming through for all of yours. So.
It's sort of coming through. It's kind of disjointed a little bit.
Okay. So what is everyone seeing here right now? Because it's showing fine for me. I'm showing, what is everyone seeing?
I'm seeing a still picture of a YouTube page.
Okay. And if I hit play, what is everyone seeing now?
I'm seeing the driver hitting the pedal.
Okay. Are you guys hearing anything?
No, no sound on my end.
Okay. So that's interesting. Okay. Jeff, you may have to narrate the video as we go.
Well, I'll tell you what I could do. Do you want me to try to play my original video from my machine?
No, it'll probably be easier if you just narrate as we go with this one. And
Okay, so what we're seeing, what I'm seeing on my screen is a picture of me, and to the right I can see the other listing of the videos. Is that what we're
Yes.
supposed to be seeing?
Yes, that's what I have. Apparently the audio is not going to go through with this, so that's a new
Well,
one.
the audio is showing that it's muted on your actual YouTube.
Yeah,
It's got a mute.
Yeah, but it's when I'm playing it.
it's,
Do you hear anything?
I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So because it's not going to play the audio, so Jeff, you'll have to narrate the video itself as we go. Apologies,
Okay.
everyone. This is a new version of how to do it for us, so bear with us.
All right, so I can still hear some other people's microphones on, Matthew, so.
Yeah. Okay, 1 second. I'll start. If everyone can please mute, and I'm going to start the video. So Jeff, you have your go.
Okay, so I'm saying hello, everybody, and welcome to this. I'm at Cantrail Coach, which is located at Pacific Central Station in Vancouver, near Main and Terminal. And we're on a Prevost H345 bus. And in the driver's seat is Dean Clark. He is a longtime tour bus driver himself, as well as he's now the general manager of Cantrail Coach. We're talking about being in the likely event of you're on a city tour or on the highway, and you notice that the driver's a little bit woozy, and he's moving along, but he clearly doesn't look well. He may still have his foot on the gas pedal, which is the one on the right, or the power pedal, and so on. But you notice that something isn't right. And he's practically passed out, let's say. You may have to come down onto the area right beside him. You might have to hold the steering wheel and try to get the coach to steer straight. You don't want it veering into a car or tree or anything. And you will have to you might even have to take your hand or your both hands and move his foot away from the brake pedal or the power pedal and put your foot on the air brake pedal to slow the coach down and stop it. And that big yellow button you're seeing there in the Prevost H3 series, the brake parking brake or maxi brake button is on the left hand side, and you simply have to get your finger under it on any side of it and just pull it up. Now when you pull that up, the bus won't stop immediately. It's not going to, slide all 4 or 5 wheels, 6 wheels to a stop. The bus, if it's still moving, will fairly reasonably quickly, but it'll start to slow down, and then the bus will be completely stopped. So that particular brake, yellow button brake button has a plastic flip cover on it. You do not need to flip that up because the button is pulled up towards the ceiling. You don't need to flip that up. The driver needs to flip that up if he's releasing the brakes. He flips that up and then he pushes it down. But in the event of an emergency, anyone can pull it up. Now, again, if the bus is rolling along, you want to try to not pull that up until you're practically stopped, if not stopped. And when the coach has come to a stop, in a moment, the video will shift to just forward of those buttons you see there. There is the transmission control panel. It's simply drive, neutral, and reverse. Drive, neutral, and reverse. You want to put the bus into neutral only after it is stopped. All right, so there you see it right there. And the middle button is the neutral. I think you'll get a better view. There you go. Okay, and so once you've safely got the coach stopped, now Dean in a moment is going to comment, that's the open and close door buttons there, the round red and the round green button. You want to be able to open the door, obviously, because you need to get people on or off the boat, the coach, medical people, what have you. Once you've got the coach stopped and in neutral, there is a switch nearby. You'll see it in the still photos later where the fast idle is, which is necessary to have the engine at a higher revolution so that the air conditioning runs properly. You're not causing strain on the air conditioning and so on. Dean's just talking about the fact that if the driver's kind of passed out, you might have to reach right around him to be able to get at that button. They're purposely placed on the far side of the driver so that passengers can't. That's the fast idle button right there. It's got a bunny rabbit on it. See, it's got a little bunny rabbit. So, yeah. And that's the same on the MCI Renaissance. It's a little picture of a rabbit. In any event, the key thing is to steer the bus straight. Don't let it hit anything. And you put your foot on the brake, on the service brake pedal, so that you can bring the coach to a stop. So it's an air brake system. It's kind of like a little more glorified than power brakes. And you must do your best to keep the coach straight and coming to a stop. This video will stop in just a few moments, and we'll let you ask any questions. It's probably one of the most unfortunate things that can happen is that you notice the driver is having some kind of an issue while you're moving along. All right, Matthew, can we stop that for a second and put everyone back up on the screen? Can you still hear me, Matthew, there? Everything okay?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. Right. I'm just reading a comment from Gary Crosby. And Gary, I'm going to ask you some questions later as well. You know, when you're on an airplane, one of the first things that happens is the crew start to show you how to buckle and unbuckle the seat belts, where the emergency exits are, what'll happen if the oxygen masks come down from the ceiling, all that kind of thing. There are many tour people now, maybe not so much on a city tour, but certainly on a multi-day tour. The guide tries to show people where the fire extinguisher is, the first aid kit, how the windows open in emergency. We're going to show you that today as well. Any comments or questions so far? Matthew, is there any way we could...
Yeah, the rabbit button, what is that exactly for?
So big highway coach buses run on a regular idle like your car does. If you take your foot in your car and you rev the gas pedal up while it's in neutral, you hear the engine revolutions running higher, right? For a tour bus, when it's stopped, the air conditioning system and the engine both need a little bit of help to kind of increase the revolutions to keep everything charging the batteries and just helping the whole system out, the air conditioning system primarily. So it's not critical, but certainly if the driver's in some kind of trouble and now a nurse or a doctor or a paramedic shows up, they're probably still going to have him inside the coach at the driver's seat before they can decide to move him out of the bus. And while you're in the bus, you're still going to need the air conditioning to be running. Otherwise, it's going to get too hot in there, especially if it's a hot day, right? And so you don't want the engine straining and nobody knows what to do. So parking brake on, transmission has to be in neutral, and the fast idle switch. You can tell if the fast idle is running because you can hear that the engine is running at a higher revolution of noise than it would normally sound. And you'll see on the dashboard, the RPM instrument is running somewhere around 1,000 or 1,500 revolutions per minute.
Okay, thank you.
So, Jeff, thank you so much for this information, but I want to know what is the exact name of the yellow button?
It's a parking brake.
Okay, that's the part, because in the beginning, maybe we might be communicating with the driver and where it is, just to be aware of where exactly it is. And then it's a parking brake. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's also sometimes known as the maxi brake, with MAXI, the maxi brake or parking brake. They should all be standard now, even on the MCI coach, which you'll see in the still pictures. It's a big yellow button, just like that button you saw in that video. It's pretty much always on the left, either below the driver's left elbow area, or it's just slightly forward but still on the left. Any other, I'm just going to check the chat messages here. Okay. Oh, Gary's out on his bike right now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Matthew, is there any way we're going to be able to get the other videos to run as I recorded them, or will I have to commentary?
Probably going to have to commentary. We don't have enough time to troubleshoot this particular one during.
And you don't want me to try to do my screen share and run my video?
You're not the admin for the thing, so it won't work.
Well, I do see my share content button right here. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, do you want to make me a co-host or?
We can try. Let's see.
We might still be able to get this to work, folks. I also have the same still photos on my own iPad, which I'm talking to you now on. So we might be able to. I'm
going to make you the host for a minute. Give it a try.
Okay. Yeah, Marta was just posting a chat comment about the button with the picture of a rabbit on it. It's called the fast idle, F-A-S-T, the fast idle switch or fast idle button. All right, I'm going to try screen share contact. Let me find photos here. Now, my little window is just opened, and on my iPad, I notice it always takes about 30 seconds for the pictures to come out, so I can't see my pictures yet. Okay, that's good. Now, let me just scroll back a minute here. So in a moment, folks, I'm going to tap what I think is the right video, and hopefully it'll just start running, and we'll just sit back and watch it here. Let me just see where it is here. Oh, you know what? It's gone to, you know what? It's showing me all my video, showing all my still pictures. Oh, well, let's do that. Can you guys see that? What can you guys see in your screen? Oh, wait, I got to hit this. Can you guys see a picture of us now? Cantrail Coach 459?
Yes.
Okay. So that is the front door, right? The front of the bus and the door. And there is a way to, if the door is unlocked, there is a little button near those orange reflector lights that are above the tire. And that, of course, is how the driver opens and closes the door with a switch. And then you just go up the stairs there. Now, I'm going to see if I can get, see where my videos are here. So, Matthew, that's interesting on my, oh, I know what I could do. No, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. There's an idea. The videos, Matthew, the videos are all on my phone. Yeah, it's showing me all my pictures, Matthew, but not showing me the videos. Oh, wait a sec. I got the button now. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's see here. Now, Matthew, you know when you're on your iPhone or your iPad and you can scroll down a little bit when you're in your photos and it'll have the word videos. I can't get that one to come up. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't use Zoom on the iPad, so I'm unfamiliar with what you're seeing.
Here's an idea here. Let me try this. 1 second. Let me just go over there. Okay, and let's go. Oh, okay. Wait a sec now. Turn. Okay. Can you guys? Oh, okay. Wait a sec. I got to turn off my virtual there. Okay. Okay. Now, All right, so let's do this here, and let's see if I can get the volume. Buddy, Jeff Vino here in Vancouver, BC, with a Prevost H345 bus in May of 2020. And with me right now is Dean Clark. He's the general manager of Cantrail Coach, and we've got the luggage bay door. Oh. Okay, one sec. Hi, everybody. Jeff Vino here in Vancouver, BC, with a Prevost H345 bus in May of 2020. And with me right now is Dean Clark. He's the general manager of Cantrail Coach. And we've got the luggage bay doors open on a great big Prevost bus. We're the third door back on the right side of the coach. And Dean, what's in this little compartment here?
So this is where you have your filter for your core. And we mark down when they've been cleaned. We try to do them every 3 months. And they're just like a big furnace filter. So we're going to pull them out. And we use a chemical called CalClean. That's actually food safe. We spray the filters with the CalClean and then wash them out really well. With the core, we have a design brush that we can go in there and we clean all the hair and junk out and vacuum it. And then we turn around and spray it with CalClean and then wash it really well.
Right. And then on the other side of this large door here,
this is just where you have your booster pump. All your air flows through here. So not much to do other than look for leaks. Really common to have the booster pump or the heat valve develop a small little coolant leak. And that's one that drivers will also always notice that coolant's down a little bit, but they can never figure out where it's leaking because you won't see much. So this area here, you just wash out, and that's about it.
And well, we've got the, all right, that's enough on the air conditioning for the moment. Thanks, Dean. Okay, could you guys hear that reasonably well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try to find the first video, the one that we were. I thought I was tapping the one where Dean and I were talking about the safety there. You know what? That'll come up in a minute. Let's okay. Let's show you this one here. Dean was saying another set of filters is inside the coach, in the about the middle of the bus. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, and so in the compartments, you just reach up and they pull out. They're just a long screen, and they can be vacuumed. This one's pretty clean. They can be vacuumed, and same thing, you can use some CalClean if you want to wash them.
And is there one on the other side?
There's one on the other side, just one compartment up.
All right, and this is something that the mechanics do on a regular basis.
Yeah, even drivers can do it. You're out on a tour, and you've been running in with your overhead fans on a lot. Right, you know, because it's the summertime and you're parked and stuff like that.
Right, so these overhead fans are just these areas where I'm pointing now. That's just blowing air.
Yeah. This unit actually has an air conditioner. It's got an auxiliary air conditioner, so the overhead would be air conditioned on this one.
But generally, air conditioning comes up from the bottom of the windows.
Right, and then the fans that you get out of here is just recycled air.
Right.
But on some buses, especially American Southern ones, they would have an additional AC unit.
All right. Okay, so that's a little bit about air conditioning, and let's. And I'm Jeff Vino here in Vancouver, BC, with a Prevost H345, and with me today is Dean Clark. He's going to demonstrate a little bit about the roof vents and opening the windows in the event of an emergency, the unlikely event of an emergency. So, Dean, you're just.
Well, just give me a second. I want to do something else first.
Oh, okay, hold it. All right, Dean's going to show us something to do with the roof vent and the windows.
Okay, so with the roof vent, a lot of times what you want to do is just, you're parked, it's hot, you want to get some air. The easiest thing, you just grab it on both sides and just give it a gentle push up, and it's locked in place. Yeah, you can see that it's got a nice gap. And on a hot day, if you're parked waiting for the ferry or somewhere, that's amazing, the difference it'll cool the bus down. You can actually get an option now where there's a fan in this hatch that will run while you're parked.
Oh.
That's a new Prevo option. You can actually retrofit buses with it too.
And if you needed to.
So that's that. And then if you had to escape, what you do is there's a red knob. You give it a 90-degree turn, and then, 90-degree turn and push on it, and it'll just come right open. And then it'll flip up, and that's how you could use to escape.
Now, if for some reason you wanted to shut everything down, everything's fixed or fine, you just got to line up. There's a little lip there, and you just line everything back up, and you just pull back down. It'll all go together. There you go. There you go. Now, in the unlikely event of an emergency, and you have to open the windows, maybe for some reason the door won't open. It's been in an accident. The door's just jammed. Or if you're even perhaps on the bus is laying on its side, all of the windows in a great big highway coach
not all of
bus.
them. Oh, you've got directions. If the window doesn't open, the little running man is pointing to go back. And this one, it's quite simple. It says pull up on bar. So pull up on bar and push out.
Right. So remember, the hinges are right up at the very top. You won't see them, but those windows are pretty heavy.
Yeah.
You almost need two people, one to hold the window from inside or out, and then the person who's trying to escape will have to just simply go over the wall and slide down the wall, and there you go to the other side of the down to the ground. So once again, just at the front here, this is the front of a Prevo H345. You've got the first seat behind the driver, and you can see that first window there has the arrow pointing back, and this next window is pointing back, and then you come to the emergency exit here. Because
don't open it because you got.
No, I won't open that yet because the thing is open, but because we're in Canada, we've got everything in French and English, but it's just basically lift right here. You just lift it, that comes up. The window will start to move out, but of course it is hinged at the top. Okay, any questions about that so far? I will point out that the roof hatch, you saw that roof hatch was at the front of the coach. There's often another one at the rear of the coach, towards the rear or closer to the bathroom. Generally, there are two roof hatches on those more modern day. When I say modern day coaches, buses built in the last 5 years, certainly the last 6, 7 years, and all the brand new buses made in the last year or so are pretty much, it is, they have both front and rear. Any questions, comments about that?
Nobody.
I'm just going to bring up the next video for you.
Just 1 second, Jeff. I think I might have an answer.
Okay.
You need to make me the host again, please.
What do I do to do that?
Probably in the 3-button menu or something like that.
Yeah. It says actually, it says chat, meeting settings, minimize meeting, virtual background, and so on. Hit meeting settings.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've not done this before, so.
All right, just a minute. It might be there. Give me a sec. General. Meeting topic. Mute. Chat with screen share. Allow participants screen share chat with everyone. Oh, so maybe it's. Oh
no, it'll be. Click on me and click. It should be the button on the top right-hand corner that says "Make Host," perhaps.
Yeah. Okay, I did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, let's try this, folks. I have another.
Before we started recording today, Sandy was talking about some issues she was having, and so was I. So you're probably all familiar with glitches here and there. Do you want to try and run that one, Matthew?
You want the condenser coils?
Just run, yeah.
Okay,
run
everyone, let me know if you hear anything.
I don't with this big thing on it here, and this is what, Dean?
Well, this is all your DEF. That's your DEF tank.
DEF is a
diesel exhaust
fluid,
which is a new thingy that
all the newer coaches have for emissions.
For emissions, yeah. So that's the tank for it, this big
That's a
plastic
tank, yeah.
thing.
And then all the connections and controls for it.
Right, but this thing
and
here.
this is where you fuel, and that's where you put your DF. The DF's a blue one, and then your top one's your diesel fuel.
Diesel fuel, but this stuff here?
This is part of your AC system. So nowadays they got the fans where you used to have like one big fan, so if one fails, you're not going to have a total failure on your system.
You've got four.
You got four, yeah.
And
they're easy to change.
Are these coils or?
Yeah, that's a large condenser coil.
Condenser coil. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Alrighty.
Okay, Matthew, if you can run the next one, whatever it is, and we'll.
We've done the filter locations in the passenger compartments.
Yeah.
You want that one?
We ran that
We've done
one.
that one. Yeah.
Matthew, just so you know, when we were able to see and hear that one, but it wasn't as smooth as when I recorded it.
It's the nature of sharing it. It's going to depend on your individual internet connections.
All right. Now, if this is the one that we already kind of looked at, let it run anyways.
Engine access.
Hi, everybody. Once again, my name is Jeff here in Vancouver, BC with Cantrail Coach, and assisting us today is Dean Clark, the manager. And we're looking at a scenario where the bus has been driving along and you're in the middle of nowhere. Bus is starting to break down. Driver pulls the bus over to the side of the road, so you're safely off the traveled portion of the highway. And you can't get a cell signal. Nobody can get a cell signal, at least for the moment. The driver should come out, or for some reason, if the driver was unavailable, the guides could do this. You open the front luggage bay. At least this is where they're kept in most cases, especially on the Prevost H35. When the luggage bay door is open, then the red box with the triangles is right there. That just simply lifts up, and you open it up, and you can put those triangles up at the rear of the coach, every 25, 50 yards. But one way to draw attention to yourself immediately that something is wrong is to have the driver or somebody come and open this last panel here. Once that's open, there's a simple lever that is lifted right there, and that will open the hood. Now, any other truck driver, tour bus driver that sees your bus from a distance will recognize, oh, those folks are in trouble, they might need a hand, and hopefully they'll pull over and offer assistance. If it's another tour bus, he may be able to take some of your passengers and, carry them to the next town or to a coffee shop, somewhere where they can at least get away from being on the highway. Well, we're back here, Dean. There's not much else a guide would need to know about anything at the back here. There's the engine itself, the belts and the dipstick and that kind of thing. But if you get everything going, these just simply pull down, and you just reach up and pull them. The hood will close. And then you can just shut the last door here, and that's the end of that. Now, why it's important that if your bus breaks down, because I've seen this happen many times, a truck driver will likely just go by you, but another bus driver generally won't necessarily drive by you, especially if he sees that your hood is open. He knows right away, because he sees this from a distance, these guys are in trouble. I might be able to lend a hand. He might have a tool. He might have just something that tells him that, you want help. Now, you may be pulled over on the side of the highway, not because you're having a mechanical issue, but you're having a medical issue. Somebody, passenger, driver, somebody needs help. Again, getting that hood open will tell anyone coming up behind you, something's going on here. I better lend a hand. Someone with hopefully the savvy to realize something's important here, they'll pull over. And remember, sometimes the motorists that are driving by you are former bus drivers or current bus drivers, or they may be tow truck drivers, they may be medical people. And they, especially if from a distance they see the hood open, but on the right side of the coach, they can see 2 or 3 people out standing, you know, just to the right of the door. It's clear that there are people there and there's a broken vehicle. So it's critical to learn how to open the hood of the bus. These are the type of things that you would have to do with your driver on a multi-day tour, not perhaps the first few minutes you meet the driver, but at some point during the day or the end of the first day, somewhere where you can talk to the driver, get him to show you how to open the hood in case it needs to be opened. Or you can say to him, by the way, part of my background is I've had some lessons in where the fire extinguisher is, the first aid kit, how to open the windows in an emergency, the roof hatches, and how to open the hood so we can draw attention to ourselves if it's needed. Any comments or questions, folks? I'm going to check the chat screen. See if, all right. Any comments or questions about anything so far? All right, let me just see if, all right, Matthew, do you want to try to run whatever's coming up next? There is going to be a video somewhere where we'll show you where the fire extinguishers, first aid kit, that kind of thing is. Okay, I see Matthew's getting ready to, you can click on that one, Matthew. I think that's a different one.
Which one you need to?
Well, the one that's on the screen says emergency equipment locations.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, Jeff again here in Vancouver, BC with the Prevost H345 in May of 2020. We're going to show you now where the safety equipment is. By the way, there's a little compartment as you come up these stairs. Sometimes drivers keep the odd thing in there, cleaning material and so on, but generally speaking, the fire extinguisher is going to be found right under the front right seat. On occasion, they could be under the front left seat or the seat right behind the driver. And sometimes they're up in the ceiling. You'll notice on the overhead bin door right there, there's a red and white cross. The first aid kit is in there, but it also could be that that's where a fire extinguisher is, either right there or in the bin just in behind it. Of course, on the other side, right above the driver's head, is where the DVD player is and equipment for the sound system.
Jeff, you're muted.
Just a comment about the roof hatches for a moment. Dean was commenting about, you know, if you're stuck at the ferry terminal, that kind of thing. Ask the driver first if it's okay if you open the roof hatch. The reason for that is, on occasion, the roof hatch has been opened many times by the driver when he's in between trips and he's getting some air movement himself without the bus being running and the air conditioning on. Occasionally those roof struts that hold the roof hatch, they may have an issue, and he knows that and he knows how to deal with it. So you can ask him, could you open the roof hatch for me? Or do you think we should open the roof hatches? Do you want me to do it? Should you do it? And he'll usually say, oh, it's okay, I'll do it. But so just keep that in mind about the roof hatches. So the fire extinguisher, as I said in that last video, is sometimes in the overhead, and mostly they're under the seats in the newer buses, the front right, front left seat. They could be sometimes behind the driver's seat, or not right behind it, but near it, or sort of to the left or right side of the seat, under it. They're not usually in the stairwell, because the stairwells have to be kept clear so that in the event people are trying to run off the coach quickly, they're not going to snag their clothing or anything on something like a fire extinguisher. Any quick comments about that particular video? If not, Matthew, find something we haven't watched yet and let her roll.
Okay, 1 second, folks. We've got HVAC underneath. Here's the short one about MCIs.
Back
Jeff.
on board the Prevo H345, and we're showing you the door open and close button, and also where the valve is. If for some reason that doesn't work, you just twist that red knob there. But if you're in an MCI Renaissance coach, roughly right here, just to the right of the steering wheel, there's a silver, and on the end of it is a red knob, and that is a push or a pull situation, and that's the air release to make the front door open. Now, it won't swing open. You'll have to go up to it and push it. So, you're going to see another video in a few minutes that shows you the Prevo coach air release system for the door in case the buttons don't work. And that was a look I was trying to show you on a Prevo coach where the air release is for the MCI coach. Later, if you do get a chance to go to those still photos that were posted last night, this morning by myself and Matthew on the CTGA Facebook page, they're all on the, all of that stuff is posted there as well. You can peruse that at your convenience. Matthew, go ahead and try to run whatever else comes up. Hi, once again, Jeff here with Dean in Vancouver, BC in May of 2020 on a Prevo H345. For some reason, if you're wanting to, let's say the driver isn't available, the bus is stopped somewhere, and you need to open or close the door, it's pretty much right there, the green and the red, and that'll open and close the doors. Red is actually the one that opens it, and green is the one that closes it. Now, in the event of that not working, there is a lever right there, and you just simply twist it. And I don't think you heard the air. There it is. And the door immediately started to release a little bit, and away she goes. Now, the other valve that's outside, Dean, that's in the event that you're outside and can't get the door to open.
That's right.
Yeah. So
sometimes if you've got a dead battery or such that the electrical won't work.
This is where the electrical panel is right here, just forward of the front tire, and it's simply right there. All right, is there any other reason anyone would need to open that? Probably not.
Well, we keep our little de-icer
for the winter time.
For the winter time, in case you get
there, yeah. And right behind this black plastic panel are a bunch of fuses and things, but just simply opening and closing a door in the event of an emergency is right there.
This is where you would access your spare tire.
Yeah, the spare tire for these buses is actually right hiding back there. And there's a lever here that'll trip the bumper. The bumper will fall down, and then the tire can be slid out. Here's one of the windows from the outside. We were talking a minute ago about the windows. Again, you cannot see the hinges, but they're up on the top of the window. The window opens up, and away you go. All right. That was that was talking about the. You're in the bus. The driver isn't there. Perhaps you need to get out of the bus. You've tried pushing the red or the green button, and you can't get the door to open. In the Prevo, you just go down the stairs. You trip that little red knob, and you'll hear air release, and you got to push your hand on the door, put your hand on the door, and give the door a shove, and you'll be able to get the door to open. When the driver comes back, tell him that you did that, so he'll know to reset the switch. When you're outside the coach and you need to get into the bus, if that front door is locked with the key, releasing the air, running the switches, any of that stuff won't work. If the door's locked, it's locked. You'll need the key. But in the event of needing to get in the bus and you knew that the door wasn't locked, You could go around to that front left side panel, open that panel up, trip that other red switch, and the door air should release out of the door, and you could pull on it and you'd be able to get it to open. In an MCI Renaissance or J series coach, later I'll get Gary to tell us if it's the same thing for that. But there's a little bit about the quick air release buttons. Any quick comments or questions from anybody? If not, we'll keep going. Matthew, if you want to find another video we haven't run already.
I'm not sure we have another one that you haven't run. At least you did a couple on your phone, right? So. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to run that first video with the braking if the driver was sick in his seat and the bus is moving along. Yeah, okay, we can do that again.
You know what, Matthew? The sound is coming through pretty good. It's just that the photo is a little bit, you know. Everybody, Jeff Fino here in Vancouver, BC in May of 2020 with a Prevost H345 coach. In this scenario for coach safety, we are the sad experience or in the unlikely experience that you're sitting in the front right seat, the seat just behind the driver, front left side actually, and you notice your driver is, he's not feeling well or something's happening, and you can see he's a bit woozy and wonky and so on, but he's still moving along, and he's got his foot still on the accelerator, or he might have pulled it off. So it's just like a car. The one on the right is the accelerator, the one on the left is the air brake, service brake. So, you know, what should you do, if anything, to try to get the coach safely to a stop? If he can't bring it to a stop, you know, you're going to have to try to get your foot in here and steer at the same time. Perhaps move your foot over, and remember, an air brake system is pretty touchy, so you would have to be as gentle as you can. The main thing is just to keep the bus steering straight until you can get it to come to a stop. Once it comes to a stop, that great big yellow button right there, which often has a plastic cover on it, has to be pulled up. It's to apply, as it says there, pull to apply parking brake, push to release. So that's the actual parking brake. And if you got the vehicle to stop, a safe stop by doing that, the next thing would be to hit neutral. Pretty obvious. You've got drive, neutral, and reverse. You'd want to put the bus into neutral, and then you can deal with, you know, getting the door open and getting the, you know, perhaps you've got a nurse on board or a doctor, and you can deal with what's wrong with the driver. Any comments on that, Dean, as far as the unfortunate situation of trying to bring the bus to a stop while it's still rolling?
No, the one thing, it's awkward to get past the driver, but they're designed to be sometimes difficult to put off, but to actually apply the park brake, it comes on easy. So it's just a matter of getting a finger or two and pulling up. You don't need to release the cover, right, to apply the park brake.
Yeah. And many of you tour directors have heard us talk about the fast idle on the Prevost H3 series, and I think on the Renaissance coach as well, it is the bunny rabbit there. So if the bus is stopped with the engine running in neutral and you need the air conditioning to stay on, then you want to just flip this switch here, because it'll put the engine into higher revolution, and that's better for the motor. In a nutshell, that's a little bit about coach safety on the Prevost H345. Now, you folks who are familiar with the Renaissance coach is the one where the staircase is kind of curved as it comes up the stairs. But basically, the things we've shown you on this bus are fairly similar with the other types of buses, Van Hool's, Neoplans, and so on. Now, any tour director, multi-day tour director, knows that the very first time you meet your group, you've got about 10 or 20 different things you want to tell them, preferably before the bus even moves. There's just no end of things. And here's one more that maybe you've never thought of before. I really think you should do this. you announce to your passengers, if there's anybody on the bus who is either a current, retired, or active doctor or nurse, would you later let me know that in private? They may not want everybody to know that they are a doctor now, because you know what'll happen on the tour. People will come up to them and on the sly say, hey, by the way, since you're a doctor, I'm having this problem, you know, blah, blah, blah. No. Pardon me. Just ask them if they could later let you know in the event of emergency, if they are current or retired, let me know. In just for some reason, I might need your help. Now, in an emergency, if you never made that statement, especially on a city tour, you wouldn't ask that kind of thing. If somebody suddenly took sick, you could quickly say to your crowd, hey, is anybody a nurse or a doctor? We need some assistance right away, please. So it's just another thing to think of, and there you go. Any comments or questions so far? Otherwise, we'll see what's left. Anything? Any other videos left, Matthew? I'm not sure.
I think we've got them all covered. I'm just going to bring it up one more time so you can take a quick look and then determine if there's something else you want to play.
Oh, I know what I can do to check. I can look at my phone. Yeah.
It's all right here. So,
Jeff, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if this happens with the driver on the highway or anywhere, where are the flashing lights? I should probably put the flashing lights on.
Yeah, the hazard lights are sometimes called the four-way or four-way flashers. Yeah. Yes. My apologies. I meant to, when I was shooting the video, I forgot about that. In all the still pictures, if you go and find those still pictures, it's shown in there. On the Prevost coach bus, the one we've been showing you the videos of, the hazard light switch is just below the door button. I'm just going to check my screen to make sure. Nope, it's just give me Matthew, can you change to the other side of the dashboard there? I think it's on the left-hand side. And you know what? It's very similar to your car. It's got that red triangle.
Okay, so it looks the same.
Yeah, and it's a big toggle switch, like those big toggle switches you see on that dashboard there. Now,
there's one right there.
Yeah, Matthew, hold that picture for a minute. Now, that is the dashboard of an MCI Renaissance or J Series coach. The blue circle has the open and close door button. So it's a slightly different looking button than the one on the Prevost coach, but you push it up or you push it down. The one in blue there, that's the open and closed door. And speaking of the door, on that same picture you're looking at right now, if you look a little bit to the left and down, you can see a red knob, a tiny red knob. It's above the brake and the gas pedal or power pedal. That is the quick air release on an MCI Renaissance coach. You just push that little red, Matthew, take your mouse there. Yeah, it's right there. You just simply push that forward and that'll release the air on the door, and you can go up to the door, put your hands or foot on the door, and you can shove the door and it'll open. The hazard light switch in this picture is the red triangle just below the blue circle right there. Yes. On the on the Prevost coach, the triangle button, I believe, is on the left side of the steering wheel. And we'll just see if, yeah. It should be above the, near the fast idle button.
You can just barely make it out, but that's the red button right there.
Okay, so it's over there. Yeah. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, and if some of you are, I'm noticing in the last year or two that there's a couple of more local tour operators here in Vancouver, coach companies rather, and they're buying the Van Hoels or the Setra, S-E-T-R-A, the Setra coaches. you would have to simply ask the driver if he could show you where the hazard light is, where's the open and closed door, where's the parking brake. It's either somewhere on the front dash or on that left side dash, but generally those types of things are on the front dash on the left or right hand side of the steering wheel. Okay, and I thought there was one other thing I was going to point out. It's jumped out of my mind at the moment, but Matthew, that's a great
another
Matthew,
particular view that you'd like here?
Yeah, well, what are you scrolling, or where are all those pictures in a collage like that?
This is the Facebook page.
Okay, yeah.
Here's the emergency equipment one.
Yeah, I can't stress enough, folks, if you've been watching this since we started at 11 a.m., that you find, oh, there, you see on the right side of your screen. So if you're on your Facebook page and you're doing a search, you want to search for exactly those words, CTGA of BC space Canadian Tour Guide Association of BC. When you find that page, you might have to actually look carefully for the word posts. Click on the word posts and that'll show you, as you know, every post that's made is on top. Everything else gets pushed lower down. So just simply look for these bus photos. In fact, Matthew, can you bring up the picture a minute ago? I want to show people the front end of the Prevost and the front end of the Renaissance coach. The one with the fancy red mirrors there is an Australian coach. You won't see that here, but you see buses like it. The new Cetra buses have the mirrors way up in the air there. That's what those two red things are. So on the right side of your screen, the Prevost bus has the word Prevost just at the base of the wiper arms. And it just has a distinctive look about it. The two massive windshields. You'll notice the picture on the upper right now, the mirrors are chrome. The chrome silver mirrors on the Cantrail coach number 460. And now, Matthew, can you see if we can find that ISL, International Stage Line pictures I sent last night? Yeah, that's the rear end of, oh, there. That picture there. You see it has also two very large front windows, windshields, but you can see the word MCI in the lettering there, just at the base of the windows, the front windshields. Sometimes you notice the difference when you get on the coach. Again, the MCI Renaissance or J Series has a curved staircase. The Prevost, it's not quite curved, it's more straight. It's not critical that you know the names of the models of the buses, make and model. It's critical that you know, where's your microphone, where's your seat, where's the parking brake if you need it, the hazard lights, how to open and close the door, fire extinguisher, first aid kit, blah, blah, blah. Even Trish is laughing. Yeah. Matthew, just scroll down just a bit more. Yeah, you're almost there. Okay. You see those two buses in the upper left corner? Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Those are MCI motor coaches that are 40-foot buses. And you'll notice that their back end is a little bit different looking. Matthew, can you show them with your mouse how you open the engine hood? It's that silver button right there. You stick your fingers in there. It's almost like those garbage cans in the national parks. You got to push a couple fingers in there and then lift a latch. So those are barn type doors. The door that your hand is touching first will open to pull it. So with your right side, and then if you go to pull on the left side and it won't open, there's a latch just inside. Just look around for some kind of a release latch that'll cause the door to open. And once they open, they'll stay open. There's these new strut things that'll hold them in place. And again, that's showing any vehicles coming up behind your vehicle that your engine is showing the hood is open, so something must be wrong. By the way, that's what people used to be taught years ago when you're driving your car. if your car's pulled off the traveled portion of the roadway, you're safely over on the shoulder, and you're just having some mechanical issue, you put the hood of your car up. Even if you've just got a flat tire, putting the hood of your car up tells people at a distance you're in some kind of need of help. Hopefully, you know, somebody, you know, decent pulls over to stop and help you. If you're a single woman traveling on your own, when I used to teach defensive driving courses, we would say, get out of the car, put your hood up, get back in your car, lock your doors. When the first guy stops, or first man or lady stops, just crack your window down a little bit and explain to them that obviously you need help. If you don't have a cell phone and they don't have a cell phone, could they drive up ahead to the nearest gas station, coffee shop, whatever, and call the cops, right? That's that way you're not getting out of your car, and you're safer in your car in a locked vehicle, unless you completely trust the person who has stopped to help you. Show a few of those other pictures, Matthew, and maybe I'll think of something. In a mini coach, there are some there's circled in blue, right back. Yeah, right there. So that encircled in blue, that is a little better look for you at the Prevost H3 series. The cover of the door is open. You've opened the door, and there's that funny looking small lever with an arrow on it pointing up. That, just take your hand or your thumb and just lift that up, and right away that door on the left side of the picture, barely visible, that's the engine hood. The engine hood for the Prevost will start to open up. It's on a set of shock absorbers or gas air things that help lift the hood open. They're not heavy at all. So even if you're just a petite fellow or lady, you can easily get the hood to open by just give it a good shove up towards the sky. Go ahead, Matthew, see if you can find me another picture, and I'll comment on that. Oh, now for those of you that aren't aware, so this is a newer highway coach bus, a newer Prevost or Renaissance coach. In your guide seat, the first seat behind the driver, you should see these little connections. The one on the left is a HDMI connection, and that is how, with the correct cable coming from your smartphone device or tablet, that cable connects into an HDMI cable, similar to what's on the back of your television set at home, and that plugs into the where the mouse is now, the black arrow on your screen, and the driver can make some switches with his buttons on his dashboard, and whatever's on your phone can be shown on the TV screens or monitors of the bus, kind of like what Matthew and I are doing right now with you. Sometimes you can get you can show them pictures, or you can, if you've come already on your multi-day tour with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute video, something of note. Sometimes what I do when I've been on tour is I've recorded a segment of news from I try to watch the CTV National News or the CBC National News each night when I'm doing paperwork. And they'll often run a 2 or 3 minute story that's really appropriate for something you've just seen on your tour, or you will see in a day or two coming up. And it's good to, and sometimes there's human interest stories or just fun little stories that the news shows, funny videos that maybe you missed that are unique. Like yesterday, there were a couple of duck and gosling stories about rescues that were made by firemen or policemen, something. So that's, not all of the buses have that. Again, that's on the little panel right in front of your seat where you sit, just in behind the driver. All right, Matthew, see if you can find something else, another picture. I should explain that those two pictures on your screen now, the one with the red circle and the, this is a panel that's on the right side of a Prevost coach, just near the rear. It's the battery, it's not the battery compartment, but it's where the battery kill switch is located, which is what is circled in red. The driver would probably be the only person to need to know about that. And all of those black buttons that are above there, I believe they're fuse panels. The driver might...
They're breakers.
They're breakers. So if he needed to go and switch a breaker on or off, he would know where that is. Matthew, if you can come out of that sequence of pictures, there should be a picture of that panel. Yeah, it's stop right there. Nope, back up one click there. Yeah, and where your mouse was, yeah, that's it there, where the yellow and the red reflector is, and you can see a light there. That's where that panel is you were just looking. And the last big door to the left of that, that's where you open the engine hood from opening that door there. All right, any other pictures, Matthew? This was great that we had the still photos, air release, yeah. Oh, Matthew, go to the pictures from last night or this morning, the Renaissance coach, because we can see that the parking brake, yeah, okay, Matthew, can you see the big yellow button where your mouse is? To the right of the drink? Yeah, okay, so folks, this is again the MCI Renaissance or J Series coach. The parking brake is right where the mouse is. On the Prevost, it's more below the driver's elbow if he were sitting in the seat. On the Renaissance, it's more on the front dash on the left side, lower left side. So it's the same thing, push to apply, push to release and pull to set. You would almost never be releasing the brakes, right? You wouldn't be doing that. But in an emergency, you might need to pull that. You just stick your finger in behind it and give it a tug. And the fast idle button's in that same area there. All right, I think we're getting near the end here. Just, oh, that picture there, the bottom, yeah, that's an old General Motors Corporation years ago made highway coach buses. And we called them the Buffalo because it kind of looked like a buffalo, right? It's got a hump on it. And you came up some stairs and then you had to go up several other stairs. The driver was kind of lower down and the passengers were all on a 3 or 4 feet floor that was a little higher up. You could never really see out of that black window at the roof there, but those buses are long gone. But I saw that bus last year or 2 years ago and saw it stuck in traffic somewhere and thought, oh my God, those aren't around anymore. Folks, it's like when you see a heritage car, a classic old 1930s car. So being a bus fan, I was thrilled to see that. Okay. Oh, there's the, now these mini coaches. Now this particular one, you can see the Chevrolet bow tie on the front there. Most of them are made by Ford. In fact, Chevrolet and Ford don't make these buses. They give a bus manufacturer, if you will, the truck or a Ford van chassis, and they cut away the van portion of it and they drop this 24 seats.
They don't actually cut anything away. They're actually sold with a bare back. The only thing that they have on the rear end is the frame and the axle, and then the manufacturer of the bus itself, Davy Coach, Turtle Top, there's all kinds of them, Federal, they're the ones that then take the front of it. The same guys, and many of them are the same companies that do ambulances, for example. Yeah, they will take that same frame and cutaway chassis and then modify it to whatever their individual needs, and RVs as well.
Yes, and now a lot of the brand new 24 or 32 seat coaches that are similar to this, first of all, they don't have air brakes, they have regular brakes. They're now making above the windshield of the driver, they make a much bigger windshield for the passengers. In this picture on your screen, it's kind of difficult for the passengers to see forward, but they can look out their left or right side windows. But now they're making them so that there is a forward visibility factor. Matthew, if you go to the next picture in that sequence there, I shot right through the window of that. Oh, there. Yeah, you see this is a, yeah.
Some of the newer styles. I mean, these are, they can be limo buses and not, but you'll see that they have a large window in the front end, and on the newer ones that you'll see, they are actually getting to be much larger In fact, some of the designs on these Freightliner chassis ones, which will hold usually up to about 35 people, it's one solid window from the hood all the way to the top. So they've actually replaced even the factory window that is on here and had it as one giant panorama option.
So all you need to do, if you're being asked to be a step-on guide for one of these smaller vehicles, is when you have a moment, especially if it's a multi-day tour, you know, familiarize yourself with the safety equipment, fire extinguisher, first aid kit. Now, in the event that your driver was starting to get a little bit ill or passed out, oh boy, you've got a real problem. You know, if I'm in my car and you're my passenger, for you to get over towards me, it's difficult because now there's usually a center console in the way. And in those mini coaches, you know, there's not a lot of room. You would need to get the driver's foot away from the gas and the brake pedal, at the same time grabbing the steering wheel and try to keep the coach straight, try to get the coach, braking the coach gently to a stop. And then on those, almost all of those mini coaches, Matthew, I think you'll agree, it's pretty much a gear selector, just like your car. You got to.
It's a truck, yeah. Most of them, though, some of them, the newer ones are coming with a similar transmission setup as the coaches, with the push button, reverse, neutral, drive sort of thing. These particular ones, which are becoming more popular because they're probably half the cost of them, these crystal coaches, and that's it's a Freightliner truck. So that's what you're looking at. You can see the panorama option on the inside now.
Yeah, there's the, so you can, so if you were a passenger on this bus or the guide, you can see that the forward visibility now, they've really greatly improved these vehicles.
Yeah, I drove one of these to the Rockies most of last summer, so I was driver guiding these ones, and it was quite easy to do. So you can see the gear selector nozzle right here. What you don't see, you can just see just the tip of it right there. This is an air brake bus. It is a Class 2 vehicle. It's the maxi or the parking brake is right there as well. It's right front and center on these newer style ones, and so. These ones, because they can so easily switch between them being a Class 2 vehicle and a Class 4 vehicle, depending on the configuration, can have both air brake and or hydraulic brakes, I should say. So.
And Matthew, while you've still got that picture up there on the dashboard, the button for the open and close the door.
Right up here is the top, is the leftmost ones up here. The other ones are for fans and heating and such.
And if I'm not mistaken, on I doubt that there'll be a picture here, but in the event of needing the quick air release for these minibuses, it's usually right above the door.
Yeah, it'll be just here on the right-hand side. They're always on all the minibuses. It'll be above or directly beside the passenger compartment door.
The passenger entrance exit door. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see if they have no. Okay.
Now what? Yeah. When you know, there's nothing like being at the real thing. You know, if it were possible for us to meet, you know, it wouldn't be hard for me to talk to one of the bus owners like Dean Clark at Cantrail or anybody, and you know, to do this thing like we did about 25 years ago, where we physically had the coach at a location. It was a regular CTGA evening meeting. We met at all the buses. The weather was nice that day, thank goodness, and we were able to use one of the buses as a place to talk. But we had everyone getting on and off all of the coaches and looking at all of the things that they needed to look at for that time. I didn't mention opening and closing I did sort of mention it, the opening and closing of the luggage bay doors. You maybe want to ask the driver when you have an opportunity, how to carefully open the door, but more importantly, how to carefully shut the door, because if your fingers are in the wrong spot, when you're closing any of those panels, those exterior panels, you know, you could nip your fingers, and that's not going to be very pleasant. Generally, they're fairly easy to lift open. Just trip the latch, lift it up, pull it pull down on it, get it close to closing, make sure all fingers are clear, give it a little bit of a slam, not too much, and you'll hear it nicely clunk shut. And that's how you do that. I showed you the triangles. By the way, the plastic safety triangles, which you would put behind your coach or ahead of your coach if for some reason you were doing that, they're in that red plastic container. And on a Prevost coach, we showed you it was in the front luggage bay tank, on a shelf. MCI, it might be in roughly the same area, but on a mini coach, that red plastic box with the triangles in it it's probably inside the bus somewhere near the driver, sometimes behind the driver's seat. When you open that red plastic thing up, you have to physically lift the triangles into place so that it forms the triangle, right? And then there's a black thing on the bottom, which is a weight, and it keeps the triangle from falling over when you place it. It won't fall left or it won't fall forward or backward. Fairly simple to operate, but if you want to see one, when you have a moment someday, maybe you're on a lunch break with your driver and you're not having lunch, and you've got time to ask the driver, would he mind showing you how the triangles work, how to open the engine hood, so on. The more familiar you make yourself, many of you have taken first aid classes, and you know that the first aid people get you to do a lot of practical stuff, actually wrapping a bandage and all this kind of thing. So it doesn't hurt to do the same thing in the event of an emergency. So some guides are at the start of a tour, a multi-day tour, showing them how they open the windows in the unlikely event of an emergency, how to get the roof hatch to open, or at least where they are, and where the first aid kit is. And then you can also ask the driver if he has any contributions he wants to make to that. Okay. I don't know if you want any more pictures there, Matthew. The buses, somebody wrote on the chat, how do the buses start? Well, if it's a mini coach, they start just like your car. It's usually a key in the ignition on the steering column. On the big highway coach buses, there's a series, there's usually a switch, a silver lever. We'll see if we can, on that Prevost coach, Matthew, if you go to the left side of the steering wheel, there's a picture somewhere of the left side. Yeah, that picture there. Yeah, move your mouse just to have, yeah, that's it. So now here's one thing that would be important to know if you did need to start a coach. That silver button on your screen now, it doesn't look like it's kind of dead neutral, but it is. You would turn that to the right, and you wouldn't immediately trip it further to the start position. You need to wait for the dashboard. On the dashboard, you can see there are some gauges and there's some red needles. When you click that switch over to the on position, you need to wait about 10 seconds or so till those needles go right over to their right, and then they'll swing back to their left. You wait about 10-ish seconds, and then you try to turn the engine over by cranking it further to the right. So it has 3 positions: off, on, and then cranking the engine over, right? When you're cranking it and you release it, it'll jump back into the next position. The bus, they're all automatics now. There's almost no standard shift coaches left, so you don't have to check for neutral. If the bus is off, even if the driver inadvertently shut his bus off while it was in gear, turning the engine off will put the transmission into neutral anyway. So when you go to restart it, it's automatically in neutral. Matthew, if you move the mouse over to the left a little bit where the transmission, yeah. So that green, that little window, right? The window on the, that'll show you that it's in drive, neutral, or reverse. It should be an N for neutral, and then you would start the engine. As for the air conditioning, well, that's over on the right side of that picture, Matthew. Move the mouse to the right, and now up a little bit, yeah. That's the air conditioning thing there, and there's a button on the left side, bottom left of that upper thing there, Matthew. There's 3 actual units right there, yeah. So it would probably be the button right about there. right? And you'll hear the air conditioning start. You'll feel the blowers starting to send air up to the windows. And then one or two of the other buttons that's in that area is setting the temperature to go warmer or colder. The newer motor coaches, by the way, have a switch for centigrade or Fahrenheit. You'll know which is which, because if it's showing 20, well, you know that means 20 centigrade. If it's showing 70, you know that means Fahrenheit. All right. I was worried that we may not be able to fill the hour, and I see it's 12:31 now. So once again, any questions or comments?
Brief question from Gary, wondering why the tour guide would have to start the coach.
Yeah, the only scenario I could think of on that would be you guys are all just about to leave a restaurant or something, and he's had to take some kind of a phone call or something, and he just says to you, here's the key, unlock the door, open the door, go start the bus. If you've previously told him you know how to do that, he'll probably just say, okay, good. And then turn the air conditioning on.
There's another explanation too. You never know what you're going to have to come across on the road. There's lots of circumstances that may or may not require it. So,
yeah.
Now, as an emergency, it's just good to know the basics, at least, to how to get it on and off. So.
Yeah, exactly. And in an emergency situation scenario that we gave you earlier where the driver is ill, let's say that driver's now been carted away and one of your passengers comes up to you and says, well, years ago I drove truck or minibus or something. I can at least drive it slowly up to the 100 yards or the next town or something. And you agree that that's what should be done. I mean, maybe you've made some phone calls to check all that kind of thing. But in an emergency is an emergency. If someone comes up to you and says, I used to drive tour bus, or I'm an off-duty tour driver, but he might say to you, I don't know how to start it. Well, at least you know how to start it. Then he'll sit down in the seat, adjust the seat, check the mirrors, and hopefully just drive at a slower pace till he gets the hang of the coach and gets you guys. When I was doing the Rockies one time, I was dead heading to Calgary. I just left Rogers Pass. I was about half an hour or further beyond Rogers Pass, so on the east side. I saw a bus pulled over to the side of the road. His engine hood was open. The driver saw me pulling over and came back to talk to me. And he was talking in such a way that it made me think he was still there with his bus, but his passengers weren't there, that they had been carted away. No, they'd been there for 3 hours. They were all still on the bus, and they were waiting for Banff to send them a bus out of Banff. It was just craziness. And I immediately got out of my seat and said, come on, where's the tour director? It was a fellow. And I said, you guys you know how long it's going to take to get a bus from Banff? I'm here, I'm empty, I'm going the same way you're going. Let's get the hell going here. We loaded the luggage, loaded the passengers. We went into Golden and had a lunch. And sure enough, we found out from a phone call that it was still going to be another couple of hours before anything was going to be able to come and help them. So I took them all the way through to Banff. I made an extra big tip out of it. And I got to stay at the Banff Springs Hotel, which is where they were staying. So, yeah. And I was just supposed to be shacked up for the night somewhere, wherever I wanted, like a Motel 6 or a Super 8 or something. So, you help out where you can. Okay. I think we've covered things pretty good. Oh yeah, you see, there's a comment on the chat about the company would never agree to someone else driving. Their insurance would not cover it. That's probably 99% true. But again, in an emergency, your first duty is to get your passengers first, you secondary, safely the hell off that highway. You can't be sit over on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere with no washrooms other than the bus washroom, no coffee, no food, no nothing. If a tour guide came up to me and said, Jeff, I know you're a driver, you used to drive, get us the hell up the town, it's only half hour up. As a tour director, I'm telling the guy to move the bus. You can't stay there. You can't, especially if there's a forest fire nearby or there's people on your bus with other medical conditions. They need to get at their medicine, or they need something at the town that's just up ahead. I'm moving the bus. Somebody's got to get the bus up there. Okay. Thanks for participating in meeting number 6 of the CTGA Zoom meetings, and blah, blah, blah. You'll be hearing more about, well, we'll do one next week, which I think is Tuesday, June 2nd. And there we go. Any comments or questions, Matthew, or anybody?
I would say thanks, Jeff, for putting this together, and especially that emergency or distress of a driver. I mean, you know, it's an instant, but it's actually also, you have to look after your group, what you're going to do, organize for your group, getting to the places after, phoning up hotels and everybody else that's going to be late, or what is it, if you're in a dead zone, how you want to communicate yourself to the next stop, basically.
Yeah, one of the scenarios that we brought up on the other tour group thing that I belong to is the cell phone situation where you're in the middle of nowhere. Nobody you do not have a cell signal, but you should ask your passengers, maybe their phone does have a cell signal, or maybe a text message can get out. But if all of those options are done, then you either need a satellite phone, a cop to show up, or somehow you need to go a little more forward. Maybe you're only 20 miles out of the next town or 20 kilometers, and now there's going to be a cell signal there. So if it's possible to get the bus moving to that town, or to, if you flag someone over and you would trust that the passenger who's offering to take them to the next town to call for help, you know, is going to be someone you trust to have one of your guests or yourself get in the car and go with them. I mean, there's always those off chances that the person who's pulling over has some devious thing in mind, but you have to weigh that, or send 2 or 3 of you, right, in the same car or truck or whatever.
Just another quick little addendum to that, if I could, Jeff. One of the other things that it would be useful to be familiar with is if you're going on routes, I know there's far less buses and coaches traveling on most of our routes now since Greyhound has left us a year and a half ago, sort of thing. But there are smaller companies that are. I had a starter go on my bus at Cathedral Grove, and thankfully I remembered Tofino Bus and gave them a call, and as it turns out, they had a bus there because we were all going back to the ferry on a Sunday, and so no starter, no bus, very little service at Cathedral Grove, as many are aware, cellular service. Anyway, I just, before I even called the company and all that, I called to find out where Tofino Bus was, and I'm glad I did, because they were just between Port Alberni and there. They managed to get a message to them. They stopped, they picked up all of my people, and grand total they were about 15 minutes delayed for their ferry. Then I contacted the company and dealt with it afterwards, but there was no way we were going to be able to make the ferry if we had waited otherwise. So, you know, a little familiarization if you can. eBus and Easy Rider, these other companies that have sprung up, can help in an emergency such as this as well.
Yeah. And one thing that came up during the whole 9/11 thing in September 2001 was all of the rules, the driving hours, the whole shoot match, that all went right out the window. Coach drivers had to work as many hours as they could that day in some cases, because all the airplanes in North America were put on the ground, and the only way for people to be moving that day was on tour buses, tour coaches, you name it. So, okay. I guess we'll say goodbye.
And Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
Tuesday. Yeah, yep. You're welcome.
Right.
Okay, I guess Matthew, you can turn off record, and then if somebody wants to talk when we're not recording, maybe otherwise we'll just go.
And also thanks to Dean that he participated in your